Hey, this is Sam Black with my second match with Mono White Soldiers in Legacy. I'm on the play. It's a fine hand, I think. It doesn't have any of the great disruption, but it does have Chrome Mox Thalia with Caracas and Permanent Captain. So I will keep it. Turn 1 Thalia can be game breaking. So the question is whether I want to imprint Permanent Captain or Mind Sensor. I had been thinking Mind Sensor, just because the ceiling on Permanent Captain is very high, but thinking about it more, I think this hand actually has quite a bit of mana, and I'm low on soldiers, and if my opponent plays not a fetch land on turn 1, turn 2 Mind Sensor on the play is pretty early. And I know that, at least when I'm playing decks with Brainstorm, I often play not a fetch land on turn 1 and a fetch land on turn 2. So Mind Sensor could actually end up being really great here. So I'm going to imprint the Permanent Captain. Especially since getting a fetch land really supports Thalia's mana denial plan. It also lets me pass with Caracas up and use my 3 mana play at instant speed, which is pretty nice. Oh, is my opponent Manaless Dredge or and discarded Ashen Rider? Reanimator on the slow plan? Interesting. Well, sadly, my opponent is on Ashen Rider rather than literally any other threat, where Caracas would be great. While even Mind Sensor is very good against fetch lands, Suppression Field is even better. So let's just do that. And attack with Thalia, and hope I don't get punished for not deploying my threat a turn earlier. Alright, now I just want to speed up my clock. So I'll play the thing that puts more power into play. Well, at least it cost a lot of life. Alright, so Thalia's dead and I can't attack. But where does my opponent go from here? Attacking. Alright. I guess the race is on. If I flash in Mind Sensor, my opponent busts the land in response. But I get to attack for half of their life total, so let's do that. Ooh. Well, that's a problem. So unfortunately, main deck I'm just cold to this thing coming into play. So I suspect that my opponent has another animation spell that is Entomb or Animate Dead, and I will die. Or Exhume, rather, is what I meant. Yes. Yeah, that's just game. Just literally can't deal with that. Alright, now for the good news. I get to bring in Rest in Peace, Oblivion Ring, and Wasteland. So my opponent showed only non-basics. I get to cut Gushcloak Savior and Longbow Archer and none to play, so I definitely do want Suppression Field. Mind Sensor was fine. Looking like Daru Warchief is the weak link here. Don't think I want to cut a land, even though I'm bringing in Wasteland, since my Wastelands are just going to be removal spells for lands. Alright, let's do this. So his hand is just turn 1 Chalice for 1. But turn 1 Chalice for 1 is actually pretty great. But it doesn't beat discard Exhume. I think I should mulligan. That was just not an above average amount of disruption. Sand has no disruption, but it does have turn 2 Preeminent Captain into Captain of the Watch, which I think is better than going to 5. Please let me untap and attack with this thing. Yay. Passed the first hurdle, getting it into play. At this point, I think it's a heavy favorite to attack. Oh man. Boom. Alright, so if my opponent doesn't interact, which is unexpected, but if my opponent does not interact, the enlistment officer next turn is lethal. Hopefully my opponent's interaction is something that Oblivion Ring can beat, and my opponent can't stop me from using Oblivion Ring. Yes, Rider. Alright, Captain of the Watch is dead. Let's play around days and try for an Oblivion Ring, leaving this mana untapped so that when I put Enlistment Officer into play, I can cast a potential Thalia or Longbow Archer. Chain of Vapor would be pretty horrible. Another Preeminent Captain and another Captain of the Watch. Not a bad hit. Especially since land lets me cast Captain of the Watch even if my opponent deals with Permanent Captain. And doing 7 damage here basically turns off Reanimate. Yeah, I was a little afraid of that. Presumably this kills Permanent Captain, and then I try to spike a land. Perfect. Alright, now I will put my opponent to 1 and hope that Platinum Empyrean doesn't find a way to get into play. That time we managed to win with no hate, just good solid beats. Oh, I forgot the Longbow Archer wasn't in my deck when I left the mana untapped, but I still would have wanted to be able to cast Thalia, and the 2-life didn't matter. Anyway, I don't really see any reason to change anything here. Have Rest in Peace, but I only have 1 land. Definitely lose if I don't draw mana, but I'm in pretty good shape if I do. I'm on the draw, not low on mana sources. This doesn't become one of my most explosive draws, and my opponent has Abrupt Decay. But if I draw Chrome Mox or City of Traders, this is one of my best possible draws. And my opponent kept 7, which means that he's likely able to do good things. I'm gonna keep this. It's certainly risky. That was good. That was also good. Now, question is, if I play Thalia, my opponent can just Entomb, Exhume, or Entomb Reanimate and get me. If I play Rest in Peace, my opponent can just Abrupt Decay and I won't have accomplished anything. It's much better if I can snipe a creature out of the graveyard with Rest in Peace. I'm gonna play Thalia. Don't know if it's right. This doesn't look good. Okay, good. Perfect. No reanimation this turn. I get to murder the Gristlebrand, exactly as I was hoping. What are we doing with this? Oh, just having it around. So there's an argument for playing Preeminent Captain here. My opponent hasn't had a chance to use a counterspell, and so might just counter Rest in Peace and then play Gristlebrand. Whereas if I play an uncounterable Preeminent Captain, I might just be able to beat Gristlebrand. No, I don't think that's realistic. Maybe if I had make a Gust Cloak save. Oh, great. It worked. Now I feel pretty good about my spot. Now my opponent needs to both Abrupt Decay this and set something up again. and I get to Wasteland. Doubly uncounterable. That's not bad. Guess there's no reason not to cast this thing. Alright, good hate.